How do you want to be seen? I have built my business around that question. I ask it of my portrait clients, my podcast guests, and the small businesses I work with as we create their videos. How do you want to be seen, to be perceived and known? The way we show up, that is how we're seen. So we're going to apply that principle to creating your own video content. Now, why videos? I don't think that that's a hard question to answer. We are all so accustomed to video. Where do we not have video? If you still watch television, if you have YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, video is captivating. Video is powerful. If you're a small business, can you use video to market yourself, introduce yourself to potential clients? Of course. Can you use it to provide education? Now think about this. If you're a business who provides a service, naturally you don't want to train your clients that you're going to be available 24 hours a day. However, if you create a library that you give them access to, paid or unpaid, it's up to you, where they can get some answers to their question, just think of the value that you're providing them. If you do it as a paid service, like a Netflix subscription, same principle, then you'll be creating passive income. There's also the value of video testimonials. This has been wonderful as I work with my small business clients and I speak to those people whose lives they have touched. And I hear how these people are benefited. I know immediately that others who don't even know them yet are going to be moved, because these testimonials are from the heart of those who have been touched. So those are just 3 areas: introducing yourself or marketing, education, and video testimonials. How do we do it? We are going to go through some very, very basic things. How to do it, how to deal with anxiety, and then how to put yourself out there. Starts with some basic tools. Right now I am using a USB microphone. It's a snowball, a blue snowball, with the little arm thing that you see here, which is actually attached to my table. I think I spent $100. It's a lot less than that now. I think you can get the microphone for $50 and the arm for another $15-20. It's a USB mic, which means you pop it in and you go. I am using a QuickTime to record this on my Mac, and I will say that before I record QuickTime, I have to make sure that the setting recognizes the tools that I'm using. So I go to the drop down, make sure it recognizes this, I make sure it recognizes the webcam that I'm using, and then I start recording. It's really that simple. Speaking of the webcam, I did buy a webcam because I didn't really like the camera that came with my laptop. It's an old Mac. I think it's a 2013. The thing's ancient. I'm amazed it's still working. If you have a newer laptop, you probably have a newer laptop, your camera might be a lot better. But for $30, I got a webcam. Now this is using the laptop's camera, but it's also using the laptop's microphone. This is something to consider. If you only have a very limited budget and you don't want to or cannot spend money on the camera, notice the strong difference in the audio. The laptop's microphone is not meant to provide the same quality as the microphone I was using before. You notice that one was right up to my mouth. It's a much better sound. So I would say if you're going to do one or the other, camera or microphone, get a microphone that provides a nice solid sound. I wanted also to show you, if you have a webcam that has a microphone, which most do of course, this is the sound that you get. If this is good for you, then you don't have to buy 2 pieces of equipment. You're all set with just the one. The tools that you likely have right now are enough to just at least get started. For instance, your phone. We're all walking around with cameras. Some things that are universal that I want to talk about is positioning. So if you're used to using your phone as a phone and or computer, you probably are used to using it like this. That's what we do. But if you're recording like that, it's not great. I'm going to sacrifice myself and show you why that is. So here we go. All right. There are some basics as to why this is flawed. We're working, I can't even look at it. It's so bad. You'll see. So this is not a good shot. I mean, it doesn't help that I'm 53, but even if you're super young and super cute, it's just a bad angle. For one thing, whatever's nearest the camera is biggest. When is this ever the most appealing thing? Also, even if I weren't 53 with texture and sagging, and it's just kind of a weird angle, you know? So all you have to do, you raise it up. I don't even want to look at it. So anyway, at the very least, raise it up. There's also the matter of vertical versus horizontal. In my opinion, horizontal gives you more real estate. So you would raise it up just barely above your head, barely, so that you can look up. And look at that. Instead of being down like this, you're looking up. That doesn't mean looking up here, just barely above. And then you do have to kind of mess around with your phone and determine, do I look at the screen or do I look at the camera? In this case, this is me looking at the camera and this is me looking at the screen. These very basic tools, slide your phone in, attach it to a tripod. Little tabletop tripods are, seriously, you can get them for what, $5, $10, again, on Amazon or Walmart or whatever. And that way you don't have to hold it, providing the arm. Because again, it's just, you know, if you're just goofing off, it's one thing. But if you can use the tools that you have and still provide a high enough quality video that it can help you build your business, it can allow you to introduce yourself to potential clients, then use it. But just keep in mind, if you have a laptop, it's going to have a camera. If you have a phone, it has a camera. Just start recording. Just start recording. And that question that I asked, how do you want to be seen? In my opinion, having that in the back of your mind is going to help you. It'll help you determine how you show up. For instance, how you actually show up. I have a studio. As a portrait photographer, I have lighting and I have a backdrop and I have a beautiful creative space. But that's not where I am right now. I'm in my home. I'm in a bedroom with soft carpet, soft surroundings, which actually makes the sound much better than in my big, beautiful studio. Having just a plain painted wall as a backdrop is fine. Now, many of the clients that I work with, they are in their family room, in their den, and their background is part of who they are. It's beautiful. So you do not have to have just a plain blank wall, but just think about how you're showing up. See yourself from the viewer's perspective. To that point, if there are people walking around, if your phone is not turned down, so you're getting notifications, if your pet is walking between you and the camera, they're walking between you and your viewer. Now, as a pet lover, you may think your cat or your dog is just adorable, and everybody loves your cat and your dog. Maybe if they know you and they know your cat or your dog, but if you're trying to market to people, if you're trying to educate your clients, unless they know you and they know your pets, that can come across as being pretty disrespectful. You may disagree, and if the answer to that question, how do you want to be seen, is someone whose pet is intricate to their lives and to the experience, that's entirely up to you. All I'm saying is ask yourself the question and then be honest with the answer. I tend to be kind of a minimalist when I'm recording. As you can see, I'm wearing black, hair pulled back. It's not always that way. Dark colors, it's usually that way. But that's just me. I do think the less distraction there is, the better. But that's the answer to the question for me, how I want to be seen. If it doesn't fit you, don't show up that way. I will say that there are some patterns that look really funky on the camera. I have this really cute jacket, and I love it. But I notice that if I'm on camera, it does this weird thing with my eyes. So that would definitely be distracting. But if you have accessories, if you have clothes that you love and you feel like you in them, that's your choice. I think the important thing is just, how are you seen? And is the way that you are seen the way you want to be seen? Lighting is very important, as you can imagine, because if they can't see you, well, then they can't see you. This is a picture of my lighting setup, super basic while I'm at the house. This is at my studio. But again, you do not need to buy a bunch. With these very basic thoughts, you can start recording. Okay, so we went through some very basic things on how you can create your own video. For some, you might need to take notes in advance, kind of a storyboard scenario where you have an idea in advance. For others, you might need notes. Some might want to use a script. I am not here to tell you to do that or not. I will say from my experience, those who have used a script sound as though they're using a script. So, is that how you want to be seen? There's also this little problem with a script. If you lose your place and you are using something like a script that is word for word, that is definitely going to show up. So if I was reading a script right now, even if I had the script right next to the camera and I was reading it and was doing like this and I lost my place, it would not flow well. For me personally, I would rather know my content. And even if I flub up a little bit, that's okay. Because if you and I were having a conversation, I would probably flub up a little bit. So just something to keep in mind. I will ask again, how do you want to be seen? I hope that you will take these very, very basic ideas, these thoughts, and start creating your video. If you don't have the money to spend on a bunch of tools, if you have a laptop, if you have a phone, just practice. Practice seeing yourself and practice hearing yourself. For this, I'm not talking about hearing yourself as far as the tools. I'm talking about hearing your message. Ask yourself honestly, if you were in a conversation with a person, not in a camera, with a camera, but with a real person, can you express your message in a way that is clear and concise? Can you be confident when talking about the service or the product that you offer? If not, you won't be able to do it on camera. But the more you practice, the more you hear and see yourself, the more you'll be able to, with a kind but critical eye, hone your message. See you from your viewer's perspective. One thing that we often tend to do if we're uncertain or if we're lacking confidence is we talk more. More is not always better. Sometimes it's just more. Sometimes it's too much. So give your viewer what they need. If it is an introduction to your service, make sure that within a very short time they know what your message is. If you're providing education, well, make sure it's educational. Make it about them, not about you. Even though it is your message, your service, your product, your business, all of those things are meant to provide for your client. So make it about them. As part of my services to my small business clients, I provide the final cut. So we create the videos. Sometimes that takes up to an hour to record, and I narrow all of that down to whatever they need, 15 minutes, some of which I extract smaller segments, and then I provide them with the final product to use as they wish. When you're ready to do that, certainly let me know. That final product will give your clients the call to action that they need, the contact information that they need, all of that. But if you're not there yet, if your budget isn't there, if you're not sure if that's where you want to go, at least try recording. Get your message out there. You know what? Even if you're just getting your message out there for you to hear, for you to practice seeing and hearing yourself as others see you. That can help you when you're trying to answer that question, how do I want to be seen? Ask yourself, and then compare or contrast that with how you're actually coming across. But when you're ready to create more content, a more professional content, certainly let me know. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to hearing the answer to that question. How do you want to be seen in your business?